Hello, everybody. Welcome to That's Football. I tell you what, in the words of Victor Meldrew, you know who he is, me and Robbie do. I don't believe it. What a week it's been for both of us. We're both smiling. Arsenal, incredible on was it Wednesday? Yeah, it was Wednesday night with
Wednesday.
and obviously Man United last night. I mean, I said to Robbie, I mean, I'm a bit hungover this morning, but I don't care. It's a Good Friday in a religious context, but it's a Good Friday for us, Robbie. It's been an amazing week. Unpack that.
Well, let me start with your game. I mean, that was incredible last night. I could not believe it, right? I was saying to you off here, right? I was driving back from the airport. I was coming back from Madrid. United were winning 2-0. That's when I was listening to it on the radio, and it was sounding like a very comfortable 2-0 to what they were saying. And United were playing really, really well. And then a friend of mine called me, right? So I was on the phone up until when I got home. So I get home now. I walk through the door. I see my daughter watching the game. It's 4-2. I had to double take and say, what? Not only have Leon come back, they're winning 4-2. I'm like, what's going on? And then so I sat down straight. I didn't even pack on in my stuff. I just sat down, started watching it. And that comeback, that was crazy. And Maguire's goal, by the way, that was a great header. A great spot by Casemiro. You know what? Sometimes, obviously, everyone gets carried away in the moment. Unbelievable finish. But let's just for a minute just think about the quality of those two players involved, right?
Yeah.
They're a bit more experienced. The calmness of Casemiro, he could have shot from there, but he didn't.
Everyone else in the team would have done, to be fair.
Yeah, that's where quality shines through. He picks out Maguire, and Maguire was a great header. That was a great winner. It really was. What a game. It was unbelievable. I mean, the stadium looked like it was on fire. You know what I mean? And I think that's a big moment for Amorim, because I think if he'd have lost that, I think he'd have started to come under a lot of pressure, Mark. You know what I mean? Like, being 2-0 up and then capitulating.
Unfair, I think, but yeah.
Yeah.
So next time Amorim rings you at 2-0 up and cruising, tell him to put the fucking phone down and concentrate on the game. But yeah, I think you're right. I think, I mean, look, my lad was in bed for the end of it last night because he's only 7, and we watched it this morning, and I made him watch the highlights, not knowing what's going to happen, and his face was just so miserable at 4-2. But he's a massive Harry Maguire fan. I don't know why, but so he absolutely loved that. But it was really special, and yeah, I mean, there's a lot of negativity. There's a lot of bad things to unpack because we were cruising, but I think we're long enough in the tooth, Robbie, to know that, positivity's got to come out there. And I think this is sometimes, you get it in your fan base as well. We'll talk about Arsenal. We've obviously got win, lose or draw. I've made up a bit of ground on Robbie. I'm happy about that as well, but we'll do that in a minute. But I think this is like, we're in the game where it's all about fan reaction, etc. But I've seen it around United recently. And I know if we'd lost last night, it'd be a horrible world today. But football can change. And really, it just shows why being a little bit negative. Even some United fans were moaning about Garnacho at full time. And I'm like, enjoy the moment. Like, why do you love football? Why do you love football? And these results this week for Arsenal and United fans, I'd only be in your lane, focusing on your club, happy, let the haters hate.
Yeah, listen, man. I felt good for that kid that was there crying. Right, I felt good for that kid, man, because I felt sorry for that kid. I was like, the pain he's going through, right, at this young age, you got years of this to come, right? And it's good to see him happy at the end there. But you're right, you're through to the semi-final. It don't matter. It don't matter. And right now, you can do that in a day or so, but right now, you got to ride the euphoria. You're through to the semi-final. I think United have got a great chance of winning it. I think Spurs have got, they got Bodo Glimt.
Let's not forget Spurs, yeah.
They got a great chance. And the same with them, innit? It's been all doom and gloom. And all of a sudden, they're through to a semi-final. And the prize at the end of that semi-final for both of you guys, if you can get into that final window, it's a Champions League. I mean, it's a trophy, a European trophy, but it's a Champions League place as well. And that's where you want to be back in. And, so the seasons are still, I hear what you're saying. I mean, the season would have been over for both of you guys, and it would have been over for us if we had been knocked out as well. So it keeps rumbling on, which is, or rolling on, should I say, not rumbling, rolling. It's brilliant.
Let's talk about Arsenal. I did a video yesterday talking about Arsenal. I think they've been incredible across 2 legs. At no point did I feel Real Madrid, the greatest team in the world, coming into this season. And at no point across 2 legs did I feel that they exerted any sense of authority. I thought Arsenal defensively were strong. They were a threat. They deserved to win it by how they did. There were some world-class performances and goals. Arsenal into the Final Four. How are you feeling about that? Because I think it's it's a bit like United. We're into the semi-final. I don't think we've won it. And I look at Arsenal. It's amazing that they could win it without a striker. I still think if you had the striker, I'd put you as favourites. But there's some good teams left in it. But they've shown real experience. I think that was what I would say from Arteta's Arsenal.
Yeah, that performance on the other night in the Bernabeu was unbelievable. I was at the game, right? And they tried everything, right? There was this Romantada stuff they were talking about. That's what every fan was saying. I mean, their fans.
What is that? I mean, I've seen this word floating around. What does
so
this
basically
mean?
It means the comeback, right? But they were trying to evoke this, saying that all their fans before the game, you speak to them, they were confident. Yeah, no, I'm like, hold on a minute. I'm saying, have you seen Arsenal play this season? Have you seen Arsenal in particular away from home? Very controlled team. Very organized all season. This ain't they're gonna have to turn up and do something that they're not used to doing. So my thing was, right, I was pretty confident we get through, and I was just saying to myself, as long as we keep the emotions in check and don't get because they before this game when their coach arrived, they had thousands of fans lining the streets with flares. It was like they won the league. Then they come in, they closed the roof. The atmosphere in there was insane. But then once the game started, it was all Arsenal for me. They didn't lay a glove on Arsenal all game, right? They didn't lay a glove on us in the 2 ties, right? We totally dominated it. And to me, the 2 players that proved they were world-class for me was Saka over the 2 games, even though he missed that penalty, but then he goes and scores. And also Declan Rice. Up against their midfield, much talked about, rightly so. He was the best player in that midfield. He over the 2 legs, Bellingham was a bit missing. So it was a fantastic performance. I have to say, Mark, the 2 games are 2 of my most favorite Arsenal games. Like the game last week with the atmosphere in that stadium at the Emirates, the Declan Rice free kicks and everything, it was insane. And then to go to the Bernabeu, right? And I mean, they were up for it. And to just silence that place and to win the game as well, which I think we deserve to win it as well, right? I just thought those 2 games were absolutely brilliant. The players, every single one of them, fantastic. And we got a good chance. You know what I mean? I mean, I think you've got 4 teams in the semi-final. It's evenly matched. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can get pros and cons either, can't you, really?
Yeah, Arsenal versus PSG, even contest.
It's that second leg again, though, isn't it, Robbie? We were talking about this, weren't we? It's the second leg again, not being at the Emirates. It's a bit harsh on Arsenal. I know it's what it is, but both ties, you've been second leg. Those things. Yeah. But then again,
but maybe if we can do it's that first leg, if we can produce that sort of atmosphere and really go at them in that first leg, because the thing is about PSG, right, is they're a great side, but then Villa could have turned them over. Again, we nearly saw a comeback like yours. You know what I mean? They were under pressure, PSG. Donnarumma had to pull off a couple of great saves. There was the Konsa miss. That could have turned out different. So it's evenly matched. Inter Barca evenly matched. I mean, it's really exciting, and I'm still buzzing from the other night. I mean, it was brilliant. It was a brilliant experience. Like you said, Mark, this is why we go to football. This is why we're fans of our clubs, yeah? And for me, as we were saying yesterday, we do some previews, right? We're saying from the Bernabeu to Portman Road. And that's what makes football beautiful. 100%. That's what makes us fans. That's what we love about it. I'm looking forward to Portman Road because of the contrast. Yeah, it's brilliant. I love it, right? Why are you going to be, like you were saying about analysing your game last night? Do that in a day's time, be the negative stuff, right? Right now, what you've got to commend those players for is, like, I'm commending my players the other night for their performance under pressure in that stadium, everything thrown at them and what they did. And you got to commend those United players right? For last night, you're down and out. And they didn't just surrender. They fought their way back. And that's got to be the main thing that United fans have got to take from that game, is that those players did not surrender. They said, nah, we are not going out. We're not going out like this. And they fought. And that is what's got to be the main thing that comes out of it for United. That spirit that they showed. They got to show that now from now till the end of the season. If they do that, they can win it.
Yeah.
They can definitely win it.
I think there was a couple of things that come back on, and when it was happening, that Ian Wright clip where he's old school teacher and he goes,
"Yeah,
I thought you was dead." That's exactly how I felt about United last night. I genuinely thought we were dead. But I think as well, yeah. I mean, look, going back to it, I don't think there's a fan out there that wouldn't take on board that. And it's a long time, but I remember United doing it sometimes, and you just have to applaud it. Like you're better than a real European giant, and Arsenal were better than Real Madrid across both legs. There's no element of luck in that. And I think also what a week it's been for football, what a week it's been for the Premier League. Spurs got through as well. Arsenal are in there. The Champions League is probably the most exciting Final Four we've had in years because there's no real favourite. And I think as well, I think the only way that game would have changed in the Bernabeu, and I think a lot of people were expecting it, and I don't know about conspiracies or not, and I don't think he necessarily had a great game, the referee, but he certainly didn't have a biased game, and I think that makes such a difference. And and
Mark, VAR worked in the game. I know it took a long time to get to that decision, right? But if that had been the Premier League, right, that one on Declan Rice, which was in no way a penalty, right? They would not have overturned it. They would have seen that it's not a foul, but they would have thought, nah, I'm not going to. They would have. We've seen that all season. They would have stuck with it. But credit to the VAR. They said, nah, come on. Look at the way Mbappe throws himself to the ground. They're both tangling, right? We saw one like that the other day when Arsenal played Everton, right? Which was right. And the referee, the VAR looked at it and did not overturn it, right? This is what. Big up to the VAR, because at least they got both decisions right. The first one, he's definitely pulled down Moreno, I think it was. So at least they're using the thing right there. Whereas, our lot over here, God knows what's going to happen this weekend. You know what I mean? That's how it is every weekend with them.
You know what? Just before we move on to the Premier League stuff, I did want to ask you who's going to win the Europa League and who's going to win the Premier League, and what you got. Our emotions have died down a little bit.
Europa League, I think I fancy United to win it.
Yeah.
I think it'd be United Spurs final. I think they'll beat Bodo.
I don't want that. It's a bit like with you with Villa. I like being in Europe, playing European teams and dealing with that. I don't like the idea of an English club in the final, because it's just, and especially because it's like, brilliant if you're a non-Spurs Man United fan, because the jeopardy for both managers is huge if you don't get it. But I think we're heading that way. Yeah,
I think we're heading to a United Spurs final, and if that's the final, I think the experience of United will be too much for Spurs. And then I got to back my team for the Champions League. I think there's some four. As I said, it's evenly matched. It's so evenly matched. It's unreal. The team I fear the most, right? This is going to sound weird, right? Is Inter. I just think I've been saying it all along this tournament, man. They're a good side, like very mean at the back, hard to score against, and they carry serious threats into Ram and Lautaro Martinez going forward. They're a dangerous side, and that's not an easy place to go, to the San Siro. That's our only defeat in the Champions League this season was away at the San Siro. So I'd say they're the biggest, but any team, Barcelona, look how well they've been playing. And so are PSG. So, but I've got to fancy Arsenal. If they can play like they did over the two legs against Real Madrid, why haven't we got a chance as well?
It'd be amazing. I said yesterday, it'd be amazing if Arsenal win the Champions League and then they can't quite win the Premier League. But I think that just shows you that Arsenal are a fantastic side. And, what they're missing in the Premier League across 38 games is you're going to get those games where you can't put the ball in the back of the net. Whereas in the Champions League, it's less games, more focused. I think if Arsenal had a striker, I'd say Arsenal. I worry still. I know they got 3 goals. Well, they've got more than that, but I'm still going to go Barca. But it's wafer thin. Like, it's wafer thin. Their defense is so vulnerable if you get at them. And as you said, Inter are probably the dark horse of the tournament. Arsenal PSG could go either way. It's just really exciting. But yeah, we'll bring that on.
Yeah,
right, let's go.
Sorry, just before you go there, Mark, right. One key thing for Arsenal, though, one big difference. Saka is back. And that is what you can see how much we've missed him. Maybe
he's not even fully fit, is he, at the moment? You can see that.
No,
he's not fit.
And he's a danger every time he picks up the ball in those games. So if we can keep him fit, we got a chance.
Let's go Premier League. So Robbie was winning, 7-point gap. He was pulling away last week. And I said, I'm not giving up yet. United style. I can tell you the gap's down from 7, it's back down to 5. Still a big gap, but basically going through it. City Palace, I went City, you went Palace. Brighton Leicester, we both went Brighton. Obviously that was no points. Forest Everton, we both went Forest. Everton won. Southampton Villa, we both went Villa. Arsenal Brentford, we both went Arsenal, draw. Chelsea Ipswich, we both went Chelsea, draw. Liverpool West Ham, we both went Liverpool. Wolves Spurs, we both went Wolves. Man United versus Newcastle, we both went Newcastle. Bournemouth Fulham, I went Bournemouth, you went Fulham. So I made 2 points up on you there. So it's 63-58. But
Palace, Palace let me down, man. 2-0 up. You know, I mean, they did a Leon.
They had the best away defense in the league before the Man City game, and they've shipped 10 goals in 2 games. Just shows you, doesn't it? The end of the season. This is where I'm
right. Their eyes on that semi-final next week, isn't it? The semi-final of the FA Cup. You can tell they've dropped the ball a bit.
100%. Well, we've got 12 games here because there's a couple of midweek games as well. 12 games. 12 games, 5-point gap. Robbie could be under a bit of pressure here, or he could just do his normal magic. Let's start off. You can go first. Some interesting ones because it's end of the season, isn't it? Brentford, Brighton, still fighting for probably a European spot, aren't they?
What's happened to Brighton, man? They've fallen off a cliff. And I know there's no love lost between these two. Between the owners of each club, there's no love lost in this game. So I'm going to go for Brentford, man. Brighton they've really let me down recently with their form. Brentford win.
Yeah, I'm going to go Brentford at home. And also, they're still all sort of fighting for potentially a Conference League place there. Brentford, Brighton and Bournemouth. Talking about Bournemouth, Crystal Palace, Bournemouth. We were just talking about Palace there. I'll go first on this one. Crystal Palace, Bournemouth at home. Bournemouth look a little bit better. Palace have been awful, but I think could go either way. Could be a draw. I'm going to say Palace week before the cup game. They probably need a bit of a kick up the arse. He's a good coach. I'll go Palace home win.
But Bournemouth got a lot to fight for. I can see a draw in this one. I'm going to go for a draw.
Everton, Man City. Everyone writes Everton off. You're first on this one, Robbie. 3:00 on tomorrow. Everton, Man City. Man City obviously need to win. Forest are dropping out at the moment. That top 4 race. Newcastle are into 3rd.
Everton are the draw specialists, man. I'm going for another draw. And they got a good. By the way, they're also capable of winning these type of games as well. They've been playing well. But I'm going to go for a draw.
City just seem to be in the groove at the moment. Unfortunately, I'll go with City winning that. West Ham against Southampton's me. Oh, yeah, easy West Ham. Sorry.
Yeah, West Ham, innit?
Cracking game, this one, Robbie. You're first on it. Villa, Newcastle. Villa out of Europe, and their record recently is absolutely brilliant. They've won 5 of their last 6, but they still can't get in the top 6. They are 5 points off Newcastle, and if they've got Man City on Tuesday as well. Villa really got to win this game. Newcastle looking good at the moment.
Newcastle into 3rd. I mean, this is a great, this is a great game. I'm going to go for Newcastle. Just because Villa have had that hard, tough game Tuesday night. Actually, this is a hard to call.
What a game.
Let me go Villa. They have to win it.
Yeah,
even though Newcastle have been playing so well, I just got Villa. I think Villa. This is hard. This one.
I'm going Villa 100%.
Nah, you know what? I'm going a draw. Sitting on the fence. I can't make my mind.
That was the one I was worried you might go with.
I'm gonna go with it. I've got to sit on. I can't separate the two.
Newcastle could turn up and win there. They could.
They could. But then Villa need this. They need something after. They play so well in the week, man. I felt sorry for them.
There could be a hangover, though, like you say. There could be.
Yeah. But they got to pick themselves up. Draw.
All right, I'll go Villa win. Fulham, Chelsea's me. Again, Chelsea need this, and Fulham need it as well. North London derby in it? No.
West London
derby.
They ain't North London.
I'll go draw on this one.
Yeah, I'm going to go for a Fulham win.
Nice one.
I think Fulham don't like, the fans. That's the game they want to win. Right, so it is a derby. The two teams are very, very close together, right? Fulham win. I'm going bold on this one.
I tell you what,
Chelsea have been playing well.
It could be a big week. Ipswich, Arsenal.
Me first?
I'm thinking.
Are you first?
You're first on this one. You are, yeah. I'm
going to go for Arsenal win. I don't think it's going to be easy. But I'm going to go for an Arsenal win, but just because I've seen the defending from Ipswich that I've seen in some games have been very poor, and I do think Arsenal probably play. Arsenal need to in the league just secure that top 4 place, and I think if we win our next 2 games, which is against Ipswich and Palace at home, I think we're more or less definitely do that. So I think Arteta will go pretty strong with this. And then what it is, right? And this is my reasons behind it. Next weekend, we don't have a game because Palace are in the
you can go strong, can't you?
Yeah. So we've got Palace on Wednesday. Then we'll be able to rest players up. Everybody be able to rest until we play in the Champions League the following Tuesday. So I think
that's worked out well for you, hasn't it? Actually, having
it has actually worked out well. So I'm going to go for an Arsenal win.
Yeah, I'll go Arsenal win on this one. I'm first on this. Man United, Wolves. You know what? I think Wolves are playing well at the moment, and that is a hell of an effort psychologically and mentally for Man United on Thursday. And we don't really have any rotational, but I can see it. I think I'll go a draw. I think I'll go a draw with that one.
Oh, I'm going to go with a United win. I think Wolves are safe now. After that win last week, they're not going to go down. I think Wolves are safe. So I think United... Yeah, I'm going to go for a United win.
Lovely stuff.
At home, right? It's at Old Trafford.
Yeah.
Yeah, United win.
Leicester against Liverpool at Leicester. You're first.
Liverpool. Leicester. They got a little draw last week. That was good. At least they scored some goals because they ain't scored for ages. But they're not beating Liverpool. Not the way they defend with Salah, just the new contracts and things like that floating around. Nah. They're going to get battered.
When are Liverpool winning this league? The comments can probably tell us, but...
So I think it's 2 games, isn't it? They only have to win like 2 more games.
Okay.
And they've got it done.
Yeah. It's an interesting one for Liverpool, actually, isn't it? Because, they're not involved in this week. It's a massive week. I've had this happen before when United won the league and there's a team left in the Champions League, and you do get a little bit sort of like they will not want Arsenal to win that Champions League because it sort of... It doesn't, but it does sort of overshadow your Premier League a little bit. I'm not saying it's better, but it's just sort of like you want it to be about you. And if Arsenal win the Champions League, it'll be Arsenal's first ever Champions League. So, weird season for Liverpool because winning the Premier League is amazing for them. But,
if I was a Liverpool fan, I wouldn't care really. You know what I mean? Because Liverpool, you win the league, man. If I was an Arsenal fan, and I wouldn't care. Well, unless it was Tottenham winning the Champions League, then that would overshadow it. But I wouldn't really care. The main thing would be we've won a league, right? So, but yeah, I hear what you're saying. But I think Liverpool, Leicester. Come on.
Yeah, 100%. Tottenham against Forest. This is a big game for Forest, and obviously Spurs. They've not been very good recently. I think this is me first.
Forest.
Forest have got to win it. I'm going to have to go Forest. Yeah.
They've got to win it. And then is this a problem for Forest? Because all season long, they've been, low blocks, catching things under counter-attack. Lost to Everton last week. I knew that would be a difficult game for them. And Tottenham, all right, they've just played away, tough game, but they got through that. I think they might make it difficult for Forest. Yeah, Tottenham though. I'll go Forest win. Forest win. Forest.
Yeah,
win.
I was going to say, I think Forest is struggling with a bit, like you've nailed it there, Robbie. I think they're struggling with a bit of an identity crisis all season. They're a bit of an underdog, counter-attack, but now the pressure's on them.
You're the hunted now.
Yeah, they've got to try and win games, which isn't really how they play, is it? Still 2 more to go. Massive game, and to be fair, it's hard to predict because it sort of depends what Villa have done on the Saturday. But they go to Man City on the Tuesday again. No European football next week, but this is a bloody good game. Man City against Villa. You're up first on that, Robbie.
City at home. I'm going to have to go Man City because these are some taxing games for Villa. They really got to win it, really. But I think City at home, you got to back City, especially after what they did the other day against Palace. That was impressive.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. So hard because I don't know what Villa have done on this. Villa are going to need to win this, even if they've beaten Newcastle. I'm going to go Villa.
Okay.
I'm a bit blind on this, but I'm going to go Villa.
You like in Villa? Villa to beat Newcastle and to beat City. I mean, if they do
they've got to do it. They've got to do it, haven't they? If they want Champions League football, and I think, look, shout out to Emery if he can get that team up. They've got such a good squad there, Robbie. They've got such a good squad.
They have. But the other night, why did he take Rashford off? I'll tell you, I couldn't understand. And McGinn. I was like, what's he up to? This is sort of the madness that Emery used to do sometimes at Arsenal that people forget, right? You know what I mean? But let's see.
And then finally, it's Arsenal against Palace.
Yeah, I'm going to back Arsenal to win this one. I think Palace might have one eye on that FA Cup semi-final, and again I think Arsenal will go pretty strong because they don't have to play a game at the weekend, so they don't have to be resting loads of players unless someone's carrying a niggle, and I think they'll want to keep that momentum going, that winning momentum ahead of that game against PSG. So I just think that Palace are going to have one eye on it. I'd be interested to see what team they play. If anybody's carrying any sort of a niggle in that, they're not going to play. So I'm going to go for an Arsenal winning that.
Yeah, it's a great point. Got to be Arsenal. Yeah. Even if you are strong Palace side, you're not committing to tackles. It's the biggest game of your career for a lot of them. I understand why it's been put there, but it benefits Arsenal, as we said, and it'll benefit Arsenal because Palace, really could ship another 5 goals. Really,
hope so.
So there we are. Look, it's a 5-point gap. I've got it down from 7. There's a few differentials in there. Obviously, if you're playing along, get your comments in as well. And hopefully by next Friday, I'll have brought the gap down a little bit and probably be a bit under pressure. But we're not feeling any pressure today. We're both smiling.
We're both smiling. We're both buzzing still.
Right. Okay. Well, it is bank holiday. I hope you're having a great weekend, everybody. There is some good football coming up over the weekend and the next few days. But I'm looking forward to the rest, and I'm sure you are, Robbie. Saudi to Madrid.
Saudi to Madrid. Yeah. By the way, that was a good game. I watched Al Nassr versus Riyadh FC.
Oh yeah, said yeah.
And it was
who won? Al Nassr.
Yeah, they won. Cristiano Ronaldo.
Oh, that goal,
both goals. And I don't know if you saw the second goal he scored. An absolute banger. It was a great game. It was a good experience, that. It was a good experience. Their football's on the rise. They're speaking to some of the sort of execs down there. They're talking about signing younger players now. The transfer market opening up. A lot of us are going to be under pressure because, they already got the John Duran, who, by the way, he had absolute stinker in the game, missed the open goal. But
Kudos at West Ham, I heard, being linked to them, and somebody else as well. That's what I mean, younger players.
Yeah, they're looking for younger players now. Their phase 1 of sort of getting the older players is kind of over. Now they're looking to bring in some sort of young players. And like Riyadh FC, they had some young players that, a couple of imports that I didn't know really who they were, but they look good. So, but yeah, no, it was exciting times for Saudi football. I think, speaking to them down there, we hear a lot of things over here, but it's beyond. They're kind of like one of the things that was really interesting. What they said to me is that they want to get more people into sport in Saudi, playing sport, because it's just good for health in general, and football and stuff like that is doing that. So that's a great thing. Great thing.
It's great for us. It's great for football. It's been a great week for football. We're very, very happy. And the season rolls on, which is what it's all about at this time of year. It's horrible if you've got nothing to play for. And there's a lot of teams that have. Absolute legend, Robbie. Thank you very much for coming on. Appreciate it.
Enjoy your Easter. Thank you.
And thanks everyone for watching. Get involved. And I'm sure we'll see you over the weekend as well. Take care, everyone. Stay safe.